Welcome to in12d. We're season 4, episode 38, Unfiltered. This is it. I love the title. With me today, my co-host Susie. Welcome, Susie. It's been a while.
Hey, Ramsey. We've been getting this together for a couple of days now, getting ready for this relaunch. I'm excited.
So am I. So am I. Well, what prompted you to go into relaunching? Because I know it started from you, so I'm asking you the question.
Well, I reckon, every time, we say we're evolving in something, you start off with a vision, a mission, and things kind of evolve. I think season 4 now, episode 38. And it really feels to me like we've had some really cool conversations up until now, and we've had some amazing guests. And I think what I really want to try is to see how it is when it's less structured, a bit more it's always been unscripted to a certain degree, but I think just see what happens when we're free flowing, because often what I notice is after the podcast, when we have our guests on, we end up having the best conversations when we're not live. So I've really, sometimes when it's just a really natural conversation, and oftentimes too, when we've been talking about upcoming episodes, we've had incredible chats which we don't record, and then we try to kind of remake it in the episode. So I don't know. Let's see how relaunching and going unfiltered works out in the long run. What do you think?
True. Our unfiltered part usually happens behind the scene after we end the podcast, and that part usually we get amazing information from the guests, even from ourselves, because nothing is it's actually free flowing. Okay, and when it's free flowing, things do come up, information do come up, and so on. So I really do like the new format. I like to have it free flow. No, of course, listen, there's always a script somewhere so that we know where we're going, but at least it's not rehearsed. It's not, we don't have a set of questions that we need to fill out. It's just being us through us. Now, the old versus the new is basically we were going from the question is extraordinary people living ordinary life. It's still there. I don't think it's going to kind of disappear. The only thing that's going to disappear is just having it easy, flowing directly online. Oh, we have.
Well, I just got to interrupt you there, Ramsey, because
yeah.
You can already tell now we're unscripted, because what we were was actually ordinary people living extraordinary lives. But I guess what did turn out to be the case was it was more like extraordinary people, and their lives to them seemed ordinary. But I think that's where we started off. Like, we started off asking people, what was your kind of origin story? How did you get to where you are today? Like, what were the practices? What were the peak moments, or those key experiences or dark nights of the soul that led to your current, maybe leaving corporate world, or writing a book, or changing many habits, or whatever, different parts of their lives, how their lives truly transformed, I guess. So I think we still want to kind of keep that human element in it, that kind of real human stories, but it's not always about kind of happy endings, I think, this time.
Yeah, I get that part. Sorry, I'm answering some of our fans that are talking to us on the side. Yes, that definitely that stays. That stays. If I want to take, do you want me to talk about myself a bit? Where I am, how I ended up over here?
Yeah, I think that would be a good start.
We can be a bit raw online today. I worked for 26 years in a defense industry, a big corporation, was multinational, traveled the world, opened up companies, was responsible for many teams across the globe, financial teams. I was in the finance department. And all of a sudden, after 26 years minus a couple of weeks, I can't remember exactly how many weeks, my story ended in that place, and I was lost. I was lost. When you do the same thing over and over again for so long, it becomes like a bit hard to figure out who you are, because that was basically my identity. And where am I going? Well, I used to go to the same place, so I'm kind of like lost for a while. After like a couple of months settled in, I tried to do something else. Started researching drinks, energy drinks, what do you call it, herbal drinks, and so on. And I said, "Oh, this is the right thing to do. Herbal drinks. That's my my future." And I think I brought up my idea to you, and so I started working from there, and that part started to evolve. Even started from drinks to tea bags to saying, okay, you know what? Let's just start with tea with the chocolate. And so we went from one thing into the other. The evolution helped me focus more on where I'm heading. And now I create chocolates, which is like bloody amazing. Okay, I I love. I'm a sweet tooth person, which is really bad for me, but it is awesome. It's the joy that brings to people when they try it. That just like makes me extremely happy. So, anyways, I'm working on my chocolates, and slowly, I believe that there's a new evolution to the chocolate that will be coming in a year's time. But the ideas are starting to brew within me. So hopefully everything will settle down, and I'll have a product within 6 months. So that's a bit about me. You have a question for me?
I do. So like you're flying through the story, and like there's just so many little bits in between there that you're kind of, obviously it's your story, so you can kind of fly over them, but I think it's the nuances, it's in the detail that it gets very interesting, because going from being lost, having kind of exited abruptly the corporate industry, the corporate world, and
Yeah.
landed on your own 2 feet, and going into that exploration, like what's it going to be, where will I go, what will I do next, who am I, like it's almost like a moment of crisis. And what I really love about your story, of what I know about it anyway, is how you lean inside and you tune in, and like you're intuitive, and you had dreams, you had premonitionary dreams that kind of, you almost knew what was coming before it actually happened to you. Having, that's how we met through training in psychic development and mediumship. And I know that you had a lot of insight on your inner journey as to where it was going. So it took some of the fear out of it, I'm sure. So do you want to kind of just speak to that a little bit as well?
Okay. I did land. I did fall on my face, so I was lost. To be honest with you, it's a it's a it's a hard thing to deal with at the beginning, when you have a routine and you do it on a daily basis, and then your job becomes your identity, and that identity falls away. Now, just deleting one comment and blocking that person. So um, when that happens, there's a complete sense of loss and unknowingness. It's just you. I ended up in a dark place, not knowing where to go and which direction to gear myself towards. So to get over that, also there's the emotions of being let go. Although I knew it was coming, I felt it 6 months before it started. 2 months before, I was like 100% solid on my intuition that my days are coming to an end. Exactly 4 days before it happened, I knew it was happening. I thought it was going to be a Monday. It actually happened Tuesday morning. With all the knowings, I was still felt that sense of, if you can call it abandonment, maybe, because I did get let go from a stellar performer to okay, we don't need you right now. So there's also the ego played a role in that dark emotion that I went through. So I had to move away from all of this. I had to let go. I had to ground myself. What I did, I actually traveled to Mexico, spent 2 weeks over there just to clear my head completely, immerse myself with nature. I went to different places, visited different places. I wasn't in an all-inclusive, so that doesn't work for me. Maybe it works for others, but for me, I just like needed to be in nature. So I spent that time and I just recollected all of me from every part of the world, I guess. And then I said, okay, so I'm here. Where do I go from here tomorrow? And I still didn't know where I was going to go. I thought like maybe I will do something in Mexico. I like retreats. I had a bag of tools that I had with me from the spiritual side. I was a what do you call it, an energy practitioner. I did also not meditation, but talking to spirits, mediumship. I am sorry, I got like totally closed over there. So I did mediumship, I did energy work, I did all of these. I read books, I helped people, and all of that just kind of shattered. I didn't know which way I should go. Anyways, moving it a bit further down the line, that's when the teas came into play. I said, "Oh my God, let me just go see some herbal teas. I can bring them, import them into Canada, do something with them." The idea started to brew. I started putting it down slowly, slowly. I kind of created a little business plan on it, and that didn't work out. So I gathered teas.
Yeah, this is the point. I think this is the point. It's like you can have so many different ideas flowing in on any given day, and it doesn't necessarily mean that every single idea is going to land and become the next version of you or the next big thing. Like it's being in that process, recognizing that you're in a process, and I think accepting that you don't have all the answers, or that simply you just don't know. I think like if you were to go back now and advise yourself then, what would you say to yourself as you were in that process?
If I go back to that point, I say grieve your loss, which I had a hard time to do at the beginning because it is a loss at the end of the day. Grieve your loss and pick a path. Because as you go along your path, if you're walking, you're going somewhere. And it might lead you to other stuff the same way I was led into the chocolates at the end of the day. Started from teas into the chocolate. I could have stayed home and said, well, I'm not sure. Let me put like all these spreadsheets together and figure out which business plan is better than the other. I wouldn't have figured that out, to be honest. I wouldn't have. I did say I did believe that teas would be the right thing. I put all my heart into it. I brought samples. I created certain things. I gave them to friends and more to friends, and I like literally almost shipped them around the world, like asking people to try them. The response that I get, like, yeah, it's good, and people will say, oh yeah, this is excellent, this is great. But I knew it wasn't great. I knew. And then something clicked and chocolate just popped into the picture. And I go, oh my God, chocolate. I know nothing about chocolate. I still don't know nothing about chocolate. So I started to study chocolate, figure out what they do with it, what the process is, how to turn it from cacao into chocolate, and so on. And I started making chocolate, and I realized I needed a machine. So I bought a machine and I started making them better. And then I sent them again to friends and family and say, oh, why don't you try this? Now, chocolate, you can't lie about it. So, and my friends did tell me, well, your dark chocolate is not that great. Something about here, something about that. And I did get the feedbacks from everybody. And one day I was making a new batch and I didn't have sugar because I was looking for some organic sugar to put in it. But again, sugar is sugar, and I can't use maple syrup. It's liquid. You can mix it with and so on. So it's just all kinds of stories that came about. And I opened up the cupboard and I had what do you call it? Coconut sugar. I go, you know what? I'm trying. Let me just pour that damn thing in here and see what comes out. I was a mad scientist at that point in time. So I put them together. And what came out was a deep flavor from the chocolate because of the molasses from the coconut sugar, the organic coconut sugar. So I was excited, but of course, I'm biased. So I made the whole batch and I gave it to everybody, and everybody goes, "Oh my God, you nailed it! How did you do that? Which school did you go to learn these things?" Well, it was a school of Ramsey because it's just trial and error. So anyway, so that was the base, and then from there I started to create the milk chocolate and the semi-sweet chocolate, and then names have to be given to those things because I didn't want to be like the rest of the chocolates you find on in any supermarket where it says dark chocolate 70%. So I started to research and I found midnight tulip, which is a flower. Oh, it's a tulip that actually blooms in the middle of the night. That's when souls awaken. And it just like touched me. And I said, this is it. Midnight tulip is a name that I would give to dark chocolate. Now I have like two others. What do I call them? So I started to research flowers, chocolates, and so on. And then I found out that there are the hot cacao chocolate, the hot cacao rose has a scent of cacao. And there's the another flower, which I called it's the cosmos. It also has a hint of chocolate. So I use these to name my chocolates. Now I have the midnight tulip, the hot rose, and the cosmos. The cosmos is something like that attracted me to the name more than what the flower did.
Yeah.
And then the flower became a logo.
So it's a beautiful, like to date, it's like it's an evolving story. It's what we were talking about when we were doing this relaunch. It's evolution. Everything is in a state of evolution. You're in a state of evolution. The chocolate business is in an evolution. The podcast is evolving. That's a beautiful example of everything is constantly evolving. And I think that's what it is. Like when we talk about this as a relaunch and we talk about what can, the listeners expect, and hopefully we get lots more new listeners as well. It's that we really can do a broad range of topics covering real human stories which include real challenges plus the triumphs, and just seeing that it is like your story, like it's in a process, it's evolving, like, isn't it? And
yes.
like I know your story goes much further. Like I don't know how far more you want to go with it. Like, but what else can listeners expect? Like I think over time, let's keep evolving into your story of the chocolate. But what other topics will we get into in this?
Yeah, the one thing I think we're both pointing towards is that just don't stay in the past. Don't hold up hold on to anything that you think is good for you. Just evolve with it. Let life like kind of gears you to where you want to go, and flow with that. Because if we get stuck on something forever, we get stagnated, and we kind of uh, lose interest, and we lose that push from the universe to move us forward. And that's why our podcast evolved. This is the third evolution we go through, from the Spirit Cafe to in12d podcast, the first one, and this is the second evolution. And
And
every time we evolve,
open mic,
yeah.
we had open mic UK. It was
Oh,
open mic UK, then Spirit
yeah,
Cafe, then in12d, then in12d the podcast. So
yeah.
it's been really interesting. We've had some fascinating conversations, and I just love that our listeners can, when we have guests on, they can comment, they can, email in any other topics that they'd love us to cover. And we do have some cool guests kind of in our, let's say, lined up for the next couple of months ahead. And hopefully we'll have some very interesting conversations where we can kind of figure things out together. I think that's what we really want to make this relaunch about. It's about that we're figuring it out together. So to go back to your story, Ramsey, like how has, your lived experience helped you kind of figuring it out? Like has what's happened in the last year or two really influenced how you approach, the challenges that you're having developing a chocolate business today? Are you learning by your mistakes? Are you learning from experience?
Well, I'm learning from past experiences, and I'm learning also of what's happening to me today. Sometimes things don't go the way I want them to go. And then I look back and I go, oh, thank God they didn't go the way I want them to go. Otherwise, it would have costed a fortune. So the thing is to just accept what is you have today, be present with the situation that you're in, and move with it. Because we can't stay in the past, Susie. We can never stay in the past. To sit and dwell on what went wrong will never push me forward.
Yeah.
But being present with what went wrong in order to fix it for the future, that's the gasoline that drives us forward.
So when you say, I need you to kind of break that down, when you say being present with what went wrong, what does that actually mean? Like feeling like a failure? Like feeling, how do you mean that?
Not at all. To me, there's no failure. There's only experiences that piles up on each other to lift you up. When I say be with it in the present. Okay, so this situation went wrong. I'll give you a real life example. Is that one day we put in a wrong item within the batch. We were doing like what do you call it? Pistachio cream. We made 5 kilos. The batch is 5 kilos. It's running on its own. Blah blah blah. We have a customer waiting for the batch to come out. And then I look at the color, and the color doesn't look right. I go, something is wrong over here. So instead of going like, oh my God, something went wrong, I have a customer waiting, I just stayed with it in the present. Can I sell this batch? The answer is no. Can I salvage it? No. So that's fine. It is fine. You just have to accept it. And the second step was call the customer. Hey, listen, we had a little setback. We're going to be a couple of hours late. Then went in, had to take the whole thing, throw the batch out, wash the machine, clean it well, dry it well, and then start again. And we put the formula down, we put everything down, and we went one by one. And then We found the mistake while we were tracing back our steps.
Okay.
And that went into the notes within the formula is that do not. So now
Yeah.
we know. And the beauty about it, there was only one customer, and the customer was very accommodating. So imagine you have 10 customers and waiting for the batch, and you really lose a huge batch, which costs fortune, you know?
Yeah.
No, so we were on a smaller batch, 5 kilos. It is 5 kilos. It is what it is. And yeah, it hurts. It hurts. But we couldn't go into a panic mode that there was a mistake in the patch. We just sit with it, be with it,
Mm-hmm.
accept it as is, and do the steps necessary in order to ensure that one, you don't deviate from your track. Call the customer, apologize, tell them it's going to be a bit late, then clean up, then do a new patch and send it to them.
Yeah.
And they were very, very appreciative that we called them up and we said, okay, listen, there was a problem in the batch. We're not going to sell it to you.
Well, I
They
guess
were appreciative.
there's no chocolate emergencies apart from maybe coming up to Easter, where you've a lot of expectant customers, waiting for their chocolate
Yes,
delicacies to show up. Like, but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Like, not growing too big too soon and making huge mistakes. It's kind of like it's a nice healthy learning curve by all accounts.
of course. Yes.
So I'm just curious about where we're going to go with this podcast for the next couple of weeks in terms of like, do you want to keep telling us updates about your chocolate business? Do you think we'll can kind of go on the journey with you?
Uh, yes and yes. I would love that. I would love that, of course. Today you got a sneak peek, and we can do updates every other week if we don't have what do you call it, someone in the studio with us. I can continue the story and take it slowly, step by step, helping others actually, whoever trying to do business. It gives an insight on uh, how to plan for certain things or to be ready for the unknown to surface.
Yeah. I think the main thing that I've learned from any business that I've been running anyway is, just as soon as you realize that something's going wrong or, or that you've made a mistake, you need to stop. Like, you know what I mean? You really have to stop and regroup. Like, so I think that's where, for me personally, a meditation practice really stands to not accumulating loads of stress. Like, I think in previous kind of, at different stages of my life when I've been stressed out, stress has really accumulated to the point where I've practically burnt out trying to keep, all the balls in the air, so to speak. So I do believe that it's a good practice to just stop and decompress regularly. Like, I think
Mm,
that's obviously what you're doing there. You know, your lived experience is supporting your ability to not get too stressed out.
absolutely, absolutely, and meditation is really helpful in stressful times because it brings you back to the present. You don't have to go into your future. You don't have to go into the past. You don't have to do anything. You just have to, like you said, regroup and place yourself in this moment.
Yeah. Another great tip that I have that I've been using for the last couple of years since I've been studying it and teaching a little bit about it, and I've just recently come back from a retreat, is dream yoga. And like, honestly, that's been a real game changer. I know I've shared a little bit with you, Ramsey, and you've used a bit of it, and I've shared it with different groups of people that I've been meeting along the way. And I've had an online group that I've been teaching and seen real benefits and absolutely kind of shift happening, while you sleep, which I think is kind of not what you would have expect from something called dream yoga.
Mm,
It really is. It does and is it does what it says on the tin, and it is what it sounds like. It's being asleep. It's about dreaming, but it's also about being very intentional and almost mindful as you dream so that you can place really clear intentions as you go to sleep. But you can
Hmm.
also offset a lot of the stuff that has happened during the day before you fall asleep. Because ultimately, if you just work yourself into like till you're frazzled and you pass out on the, at the end of the day, unconscious, to that point, your dreams are just kind of a follow on from that kind of lived experience. Whereas if you stop before you get to that kind of burnt out frazzle stage and you take time to, mindfully go to bed, mindfully kind of let go of the day, consciously set an intention as you go to sleep, a lot of stuff can really kind of be like a lot of repairing happens in our brains, in our bodies while we sleep. So you can kind of offset a lot of your stress of the day in that state. So it's not like a hard problem that you've got to figure out. Your subconscious mind will do it anyway.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm a massive fan of that. I think it really will be something that I want to share as we relaunch the podcast. Little tips as we go through, month by month. A little dream
Yes.
yoga tip every day, I think would be, or every time we're online or on
Yeah.
live. So yeah, there's
You
some of
know,
the stuff. Yeah.
I just want to say something. I know I'm biased, but Susie gave me a bit of tips on how to do the dream yoga. And I really focused on the tips that she gave me. Like, really, I don't know what happened to me that day. I was like 100% focused on that. I was focused on taking all the energies, whatever negative that they are, into my dream. I put that intention out there. And I woke up in the morning and it all untangled,
Mm.
all of it. And yes, some of them I felt them immediately, and some of them it took like a couple of days to a week. But it was phenomenal, phenomenal, and I really hope that you guys could tune in and listen to Susie's little tips and tricks on how to, because it really does help. It really does help. I know, like I said, I am biased, but you can try it for yourself.
Yeah, a lot of people have phobias about going to sleep because they have night terrors and, that fear in the middle of the night or fear of even falling asleep. So they want to numb out before they, go to bed. So they're either watching loads of TV or drinking or, whatever, taking some kind of sedatives or whatever in order to just not have to feel it, and that's the start point. You have to be kind of realize that within you is an element that is absolutely fearless. So the dream yoga part of the practice is developing fearlessness. And we develop fearlessness in the middle of the night when we're normally having like a night terror. So if you wake, say, in the middle of the night and you've had some sort of a nightmarish kind of event going on in your dreamscape, so you're being chased, or there's somebody trying to kill you, or you're falling, or something's crashing, something that really, because your body doesn't know whether it's dream or real. Like your body is having a physiological response to whatever the stressor is. It doesn't know the difference. So you wake up and you're like gasping for breath and you're like, oh, thank God it's a dream. It's only a dream. Well, there's a point there where you can just sit with that terror and being so freaked out, but then consciously re-enter the dream state. But it's almost like you re-enter the dream state as a different character. You can go in there with your sword and be like, be the knight in shining armor. You can be the one with the fastest car. You can be the one who's larger than life or stronger than whatever. And that's what it is. It's about using your imagination to transform whatever is happening in the dream. And when you do that in the dream work, then in the waking state, it starts to happen. You start to become a little bit more invincible and fearless in your waking state. So you start doing, probably things like taking a pilgrimage to Mount Kailash at this stage of the game, And it feels like an easy thing to do for some reason. And I've really done a lot of dream work on that. So anything that you have that's a challenge is what I would suggest. Take it into the dreamscape and find that fearlessness, that element within yourself, that quality. So yeah, we've lots of cool stuff I think to share over the next couple of months, without a shout, without
Shadow
a
of
shadow
doubt.
of a doubt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So stay tuned because there are a lot of tips and tricks that are coming your way, either from one of us or both of us, or our guests are going to be joining us. And we do have a guest actually for next week, don't we?
Do we? I don't know. Let's come back to
Oh,
that.
no,
I
it's
know,
the
I
week after.
know, I know we have
It's the
somebody
week
coming
after.
next time. But I think we
Yes.
might have somebody for next week. So we'll, do just join in. We'll be here live every Thursday. So
Yeah.
connect in. Or most Thursdays. Don't hold us to it. It's, we'll do our best.
It's we're live whenever we can on Thursday, 7 p.m. UK time, 11 Pacific, and that will be 2 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you can follow the channel. You can follow it here on YouTube as we live stream to YouTube. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can also
Yeah.
like it.
Actually, since you're here, just click that like and subscribe. This way,
Yeah.
you don't miss out on the episodes that are coming up in the near future. You can also listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or other major platforms. We're broadcasting everywhere.
Yeah, and we put those out as just in an audio format, so you don't get to see our pretty faces, but you do hear our voices, and it's as we said, unscripted. We don't edit it, so it's a warts and all sort of production. But it's really all about where we're going now with the podcast. It's real
Yeah.
people, real conversations in real time.
Well, thank you for listening to us today. It was awesome, actually. It was unscripted, unfiltered, and we have a lot to talk about. There's tons of experiences I would like to bring to you from us and from our guests, and also trust me on this one. The dream yoga is phenomenal. Join us and listen to those tips and tricks from Susie because they really help. And
And
on that note,
I've
yeah,
tasted the healing chocolate, and my gosh, it made it to Ireland from South America, and it's absolutely worth waiting for. So we'll be keeping an eye out on the production of that as well. So look, this is us unfiltered, figuring it out one conversation at a time. Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you. Till next time.